This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
Just ahead on Carolina Impact, a closer look at Rick Hendrick's successful career and the ways he helps our region. Plus, we'll take you to Sugar Creek Charter School, where school leaders say education is key to ending generational poverty. And we'll introduce you to the man responsible for leading Opera Carolina. Don't go anywhere. Carolina Impact starts right now.
Carolina Impact, covering the issues, people, and places that impact you. This is Carolina Impact.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. It's exciting for me to see people in our community who live their lives not just for success, but for significance. Rick Hendrick is one of those people. He moved to Charlotte in the 1970s and has built a lasting legacy through his car dealerships, his NASCAR teams, and his never-ending desire to give back to our community. His latest honor is being chosen the Charlotte Chamber's Citizen of the Carolinas. Our Jason Terzis tells us more.
It started in small-town America in rural Southern Virginia.
He grew up on a farm, and he came from nothing.
His love affair with cars began at a young age.
Working with cars in any aspect was a dream of his.
One car dealership blossomed into an automotive giant.
He's obviously quite an entrepreneur, and that started at an early age.
Then came the racing and championships, lots of them.
He's always done what he loved.
But through all the success and ability to stay humble and true to his small-town roots.
With Mr. Hendrick, it's all about the people.
I feel like everywhere he goes, he makes a difference in whatever he does.
Making a difference by giving back to the community with a servant's heart.
He just seems to have such a great balance on life.
Rick Hendrick was born in 1949, growing up in the tiny town of Palmer Springs, Virginia. At 14, he began drag racing in a self-built 1931 Chevy.
The guys that he knew, race cars on the street, more like Dukes of Hazzard. Cars and racing cars was part of the culture.
At 26, he became the youngest Chevy dealer in the United States. At 29, Hendrick moved to Charlotte, where he purchased City Chevrolet.
That one store turns into 5 stores, and then eventually turns into 100 plus stores.
Today, Hendrick Automotive is the largest privately held dealership group in the country, with more than 100 dealerships across 14 states. The company employs more than 10,000 people, generating a company record $8.4 billion in revenue in 2015. Selling cars was one thing, but racing them was always Rick's passion. In the mid-'80s, he launched Hendrick Motorsports. His drivers have combined to win a dozen championships in NASCAR's Top Series, including 4 by Jeff Gordon and a record-tying 7 by Jimmy Johnson. The heart of Hendrick Motorsports is a state-of-the-art 430,000 square foot facility in Concord. It includes a museum, gift store, and race shops where the cars are built. Also on site, Rick's personal car collection. With over 200 classics, it's guaranteed to be the envy of any car enthusiast.
My father, if I could think of a word to really, as a metaphor of who he's a builder.
And it's not just building things, it's how he builds them.
Rick believes that life is really a people business, not a car business, not a racing business, but a people business.
He sets an example of listen, we're not going to get there without being a team, without working together, and without working extremely hard.
Talk to those who know Rick, and they'll tell you his accomplishments are great, but it's the person he is that really makes him special.
He had so much respect for his mother and his father, and it was obvious that he was raised in a way that, in a small town living on a farm, that you gave back. It was a mindset. It was a belief system.
After being diagnosed with leukemia in 1996, Rick formed the Hendrick Marrow Program. Since then, he's given millions to charities, including Together We Feed, Be the Match, Levine Children's Hospital, Drive to End Hunger, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, Nazareth Children's Home, and the Charlotte Observer Summer Camp Fund.
A few years ago, there was a shortfall in funding the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system where sports was going to be cut out of middle schools. He made a $250,000 donation that went with an anonymous donation to keep middle school sports alive.
He's been giving to poor children in his community and funding camps for kids in the summer for as long as I can remember.
I don't think I've ever seen him meet a family or a child that was in need that he didn't help.
That's more important to us than winning trophies and selling cars, is to be able to help those in need.
Shortly after son Ricky, brother John, and several team members were killed in a 2004 plane crash, the Hendricks donated $3 million to help start Levine Children's Hospital. Their donation went to the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, a place where the sickest of the sick come for care.
And so now children that are born in this community or in our region, and frankly now we're starting to see children from across the country come to us and choose us for their care. They don't need to go anywhere else.
Ongoing donations by the Hendricks to Levine's have totaled more than $4.5 million.
So our contribution goes far beyond the floor and the unit, but it steps into people's lives personally, and it personally helps them and personally changes and saves lives. So we're thrilled to be a part of it. You can't put a dollar on a child's life.
And no dollar amount or award can sum up what Rick Hendrick means to our community.
Our 2016 Citizen of the Carolinas, Rick Hendrick.
In late November, in front of an estimated 2,000 people, the Charlotte Chamber presented Hendrick with its highest honor.
First of all, I'm honored and humbled to be here tonight to receive this award from a city that's meant so much to me and my family. We love it here. It's been good to us. And I'm proud to say that of our 11,000 employees and teammates now, 5,000 of them are in the Carolinas.
Rick Hendrick, the 2016 Citizen of the Carolinas. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jason Terzis reporting.
Thanks so much, Jason. Joining me now is Bob Morgan, President and CEO of the Charlotte Chamber of Commerce. Bob, thanks so much for joining us. We always appreciate your time.
Glad to be here. Happy New Year to you.
Hey, Happy New Year to you as well. 2016 was a tough one for businesses in our area. HB2, a heated gubernatorial race, challenges with the riots in Uptown. Yet, in spite of all those negatives, our business community still had a pretty good year. What were some of the accomplishments?
Well, Charlotte's a remarkable economy with remarkable momentum. Yes, we took some hits, many related to HB2, some specific companies that did not bring jobs that had been planned, several major high-profile sporting events and meetings, and we continue to deal with HB2, of course. But we created several thousand new jobs, primarily companies that are already here, growing as the national economy grows, and it continues to be a story of what sells for Charlotte. We have a cost of living that's 95% of the national average. We have a workforce that's large. We know how to run businesses and make things, those of us who live here. And the Charlotte Airport continues to give us a level of connectability, fifth largest, fifth busiest airport in the country, a level of air service far greater than our population size might indicate. Those and other attributes continue to sell well.
But the one thing we always know, the only thing I think we can always count on, is the fact that change is the only constant in life. So there's a lot of change coming now in 2017. What are some things that you're looking for through the Chamber?
Well, first of all, we still need a fix for HB2. It's a problem, and we need the legislature and local leaders to come together and give us a fix for that. Regarding the police shootings in September, they really put a spotlight on the work of the Opportunity Task Force, this idea that prosperity is not evenly spread throughout our community, and the recommendations of the task force are going to come out in the first quarter. We intend to make those recommendations a priority. We need for the community to do that because we've got some serious long-term systemic issues that need to be addressed, or we're going to repeat the events we saw back in September, most likely. On a more positive, proactive front, we're very excited, the Charlotte Chamber and the Charlotte Regional Partnership. We've spent a lot of time over the last 2 years developing an economic development strategic plan for the marketing of the region. Never has that been more important than ever. 2017 is about implementation, execution, deliver on the recommendations of that plan. And then the Chamber itself, we are literally changing our model. We're an organization that historically has served those companies that are members of the Chamber. We're going to go from that model of exclusivity to one of inclusivity. We're here to serve anybody that does business in this economy. We've reorganized our staff. We are making investments in 2017. People are going to start hearing more about it. They're going to see some tangible results of that over the course of the year and into the coming years. We think it's a way to strengthen the voice of the business community, to provide more value to the businesses that are here. One component of that is to beef up our capacity to help entrepreneurs in the community. Gallup would say that the companies that create the most jobs going forward are going to be those that currently employ between 100 to 1,000 employees. We can do more to help connect those folks within what we call the entrepreneurial ecosystem. The changes we're making are going to allow us to do that.
And we are making ourselves even more advantageous to entrepreneurs to come and to settle here.
Well, entrepreneurs are attracted by many of the same things that I've already mentioned that other companies are. You ask them, what more can you do? One part of the answer is very low-hanging fruit. Celebrate us more. Talk about us more. They feel overshadowed by some of the larger companies in the tall towers. So folks in positions like yours and mine, we can help celebrate entrepreneurs in a greater way. They also need more venture capital. Not an easy fix there. But
finding funding is always a challenge for everyone.
Finding funding is. But you know, we are the best to be found anywhere at helping large companies, traditional projects, whether it's a headquarters recruitment or a manufacturing plant. We know how to help them make a decision that can lead them to invest and put jobs in Charlotte. Entrepreneurs have different needs. Sometimes they don't know what those needs are. The help they need from the Chamber of Commerce or from others is different. We're going to have additional capacity from a staffing perspective, from a focus perspective, prioritization, to expand what we as a community can do to help more entrepreneurial companies to grow.
Bob Morgan, President and CEO of the Charlotte Chamber of Commerce. We always appreciate your time. You always have an awful lot going on, and we're excited to see all the progress you'll make this year.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to be here to share.
Some of the greatest lessons I've learned throughout my life weren't found in textbooks. That's why teachers at Sugar Creek Charter School spend just as much time teaching students resume building as basic math. Carolina Impact's Danielle Koser explains why career readiness is a big part of the school's curriculum.
Wouldn't it be nice if a golden ticket could take away your worries?
You found Wonka's last golden ticket.
In this classic, a single ticket had the power to pave the way from poverty to prosperity for Charlie and his family.
Yippee!
Here at Sugar Creek Charter School, leaders compare a good education to a golden ticket.
What I would tell the students on a lot of those days is, listen, this is your Willy Wonka golden ticket. So we're gonna call this one A.
Teacher turned administrator Marlon Harris says math is a bright spot for many students who are relieved some problems have clear answers. Let's take a look at Sugar Creek Charter School by the numbers. 100% of students are minorities. 96% qualify for a free or reduced school lunch. And 70% live with a single parent or caregiver.
The majority of our students come from low socioeconomic homes.
School Director Cheryl Turner says many students here face challenges. Some born addicted to drugs, others homeless or lacking resources.
It's a population that generally is challenged, but they've been very successful here.
These factors make it difficult for them to focus on schoolwork some days.
You know, no matter what your situation is, no matter what life you're born into, no matter how you feel when you wake up, that morning, you can change the day right now.
Harris says it's important to teach students how to be confident and bold in problem solving.
I was constantly motivating him and saying, this is life 101. This isn't just about math, this is life.
He was like one of the best teachers I've had because he was like really passionate about his job.
Why is that an expression and not an equation?
Meet Lyndon Hansen, a teenager pursuing a big dream.
I want to be a video game designer when I grow up.
Incredible student. He has a natural gift, it's obvious, not only in math, but just in academia, period. But he also has a drive.
You will need to identify it so you'll be able.
Hansen is only in 8th grade, and he's already learned the importance of keeping up his grades so he can get into a good school after graduation.
I had slogans all over my room. Things like, you've been hired.
From motivational posters in primary school to college pendants in high school classrooms, the school puts a big emphasis on college and career readiness.
If you have taken an exceptionally strong academic program, you're going to move up 2 spaces.
And curriculum incorporates character education.
Our goal for our students is that when they leave us, they will be prepared to either pursue the job of their dreams or to go to the college of their dreams.
I actually want to work in communications.
Junior Erica Hamilton looks forward to multimedia class.
We had to turn in projects where we shot the footage ourselves. We had to edit the footage by ourselves.
The hope is that hands-on experience like this helps bridge the gap between a student's education and their dreams. The approach seems to be working.
I've learned how to build up my confidence.
You can come to school and you know that you have that family environment and you know that you can confide in teachers and you can talk to friends.
We feel like education is the thing, the guarantee, the way you can most likely get out of poverty.
What do we need to identify first?
School leaders hope the education students receive at Sugar Creek Charter School gives them the tools they need to break the cycle of generational poverty. A golden ticket for a brighter future. For Carolina Impact, I'm Danielle Koser reporting.
Thanks so much, Danielle. According to the 2014-15 North Carolina State Report Card, the school scored a C in reading and math, with 60% of students performing at grade level. Did you know Charlotte's home to the largest opera company in the Carolinas? Opera Carolina serves about 17 counties across our region. Carolina Impact's Jeff Rivenbark introduces us to the man who's been the driving force behind the organization.
As singers hit high notes on stage, musicians in the pit play with precision. And the person making sure the music has the right tempo and that everyone comes in at the right time, Maestro James Mina.
I can't tell you why I love it, I just do.
He's got 3 jobs: general director, principal conductor, and artistic director. When he's conducting, there's only one thing on his mind.
The composer has written definitively what he wants, and the conductor's job is then to lead the performance and the performers in a specific way.
When Mina's not in front of an audience, he likes to decompress at home in his kitchen.
Part of the reason I love cooking, though, is it allows me to kind of let my mind just go and wander.
On this day, he's making his signature dish.
This is a takeoff of braciole, which is an Italian dish. Healthy food.
He also enjoys time alone, singing and playing the piano. A graduate of Carnegie Mellon University and Baldwin Wallace College Conservatory of Music, Mina's taught or conducted music for more than 40 years.
Working with Maestro Mina is like working with a singer. He has the singer in mind, he breathes with the singer, which is an incredible thing in this business.
Soprano Catherine Lewick portrayed Rosina in Opera Carolina's fall production of The Barber of Seville.
Maestro Mina is an expert at understanding not only that we have a lot on our plate up here, but his task is a million times harder.
It's totally wonderful to work under his direction. He memorized every word. We have to be careful.
Mina has an amazing ability to memorize every score without having to look at the music.
He knows what the first violins are doing. He knows what the timpani is doing. He knows what the soprano is singing. He knows what the tenor is singing. He knows every little moment.
He gives you the freedom to explore. And then if it's not as written, he brings you back to what's written. But within the umbrella of creativity, I mean, you have your own voice in it. So you're not a robot.
Opera Carolina began in 1948 by a group called the Charlotte Music Club. During the early years, volunteers did everything from building sets and designing costumes to singing principal roles and selling tickets.
Other than the New Orleans Opera, which traces its history back to the 1700s and the French colonies, Opera Carolina is the oldest opera company in the Southeast, probably one of the oldest in the country.
During its 68-year history, the company weathered lots of ups and downs, including the financial crisis of 2008, which forced Opera Carolina to make drastic cuts.
We cut the main stage season down from 4 productions to 3. We eliminated some unfunded education programs, and we came out of the financial crisis in good shape.
A fully professional company with an annual operating budget of $2.9 million, Mina says he'd like to expand programs and fill more seats.
We've also done a great deal of work in cultivating new audiences, doing that through social networking, doing everything we can possibly do to get the idea out to the community that opera is a great art form.
Recently, they've started offering Tweet Seats and Beyond, where tech-savvy folks sit in a designated area to tweet,
Facebook, and Instagram during a performance. They're hoping this creates a social media buzz about new productions and entices new patrons. And perhaps it's working. 2 years in a row, the 25 to 40-year-old crowd has grown to become Opera Carolina's largest demographic, and by opera standards, Charlotte has a very young audience.
It's kind of a social engineering exercise that we do, bringing people from across the community together to have a shared experience.
But if you think a night at the opera is highbrow or too stuffy, Mina offers this advice.
Give it a try. You know, I love to say opera is like a Broadway show on steroids. Everything you like about a Broadway show, there's more of it and it's bigger at opera. That's why we call it grand opera, because it is big. Once they try it, they realize that the experience really is fabulous.
And an experience that makes patrons want to come back for another performance after the final curtain falls. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jeff Rivenbark reporting.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Opera Carolina performs La Traviata January 26th and 28th at Belk Theater. You can find details on our website's Carolina Impact page. Next, a bit of trivia. What's one of the oldest inventions that's been around for thousands of years? Okay, when I was working with our producers, I guessed fire, but that's not it. It's pottery. Just down the road, you can find great works of this type of art. Producer Russ Hansinger takes us to Pottery 51 in Mint Hill, a studio and gallery that supports local artists and gives us a chance to learn about this ancient art form.
The purpose of Pottery 51 is to educate the community about pottery. We are a nonprofit, and we provide anything from the glazes to the slab roller to our kilns are available to anybody that joins Pottery 51. It's important because the equipment is rather expensive. It takes up a lot of space. So this is a real advantage. You're getting thousands of dollars worth of equipment to use at your discretion.
We have a huge diversity of types of pottery, and that's really important. We have traditional pottery, we have experimental stuff, we have sculptural. I don't do traditional cups and bowls and mugs. That's just not something I'm interested in. That's not a negative comment. It's just not what I'm interested in, and I feel just as comfortable here as everybody else does, and that's important.
The gallery space is open on Saturdays, and it is for the public to come and see what we do.
My daughter and I were out just running around, and we live here in Mint Hill, and we just wanted to always come in, and we had the opportunity to do that today.
All of the potters here put work in the gallery, anything they want to display, and it changes periodically.
Love it. I think it's really neat. There's a lot of neat pieces in here, and I'm gonna be back.
I really appreciate the dynamic when somebody comes back and looks at my pottery and I explain to them what I'm doing. That's fun. I enjoy doing that. Partially, it's expressing creative energies with my hands that I have to do, and other things, it's a mental break from work on my day job, and that's just as important. It's very much play.
I thought it was just one potter, but there's like 20 or so potters in here, and that really makes it interesting and neat, really diverse.
We have well over 100 potters that are working just in the Charlotte and suburban area. So that's a lot. And for people to have a place to come to share their ideas and get some feedback from other potters, to work together. Occasionally we have a little workshop here to educate people.
The beginners can learn from us, and as I express so frequently around here, experiencing errors and things that don't work are just as important. So I can learn from the beginners, and they can learn from more experienced potters. and we feed off of each other's energy levels, and I think that's really important to the creative process.
You know, we just want people to know that we're here and they are welcome, and if they're interested in pottery, either as a collector from that standpoint, or they want to get into it, learn a little bit about it, then we're here for them.
Thanks so much, Russ. Pottery 51 is located at 7714 Matthews Mint Hill Road. They also offer classes for all levels. Now, I bet you've uncovered some hidden treasure destinations, and we'd love you to share your ideas with us. Please send us an email to carolinaimpact@wtvi.org. Here's another reminder. Please friend us on Facebook for a chance to win monthly prizes. You never know what kind of goodies we'll be giving away. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We so appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you back here again next time on Carolina Impact. Good night, my friends.
Production of PBS Charlotte.